How is it going, guys? Onesie Burnett here, and welcome back to week 10 of the Pokemon Premier League. And this week, AS Monferno playing against Unlawful Exile and West Chan United. Now, Liam is an incredibly cool guy, and I really wish him the best for the rest of the season. But we are gonna have to try and get a win here, because we cannot deal with any more losses. We are currently 12th in the table, rock bottom. Liam is actually ahead of us now, and if we don't start picking up a win, if we don't win our next two games, we probably will be down. Not just like we don't just have a chance of going down, we probably will be going down, because we have one of the worst differentials around us. So we need to pick up a win here, and I think I've got a plan to do it. Now, Liam himself is in a very bad position. We're on the same amount of points. He is slightly worse off than us, well, slightly better off because of his differential, but this is going to be one hell of a match. So, I'm going to have this team. This team is going to be Sableye, Kyurem, Banded Victini, Focus Sash Escavalier, Zapdos, which is, I believe, Defog for Defog 3 attacks, and Physically Defensive Regirock to deal with Staraptor. And the team he's bringing is Mamoswine, Galvantula, Staraptor, Mega Venusaur, Mew, and Golem. So, this is going to be one hell of a matchup. I think he has the matchup at the moment. He has the good matchup against us. And this should be a very interesting match to actually play. So let's get into this and see if AS Monferno can keep up their relegation battle against Unlawful Exile and the West Chan United. Let's go. Exile is issuing a challenge, and he leads off with his Golem, while I lead off with my Mega Sableye, because I just wanted to get my my Mega up so I could stop any rocks or any toxics or anything coming off on the field. I'll go for my my Mega first turn, and I reveal the Fake Outs, which I use straight away on this Golem to try and get some damage off and just stop it from doing anything turn 1, just in case it wanted to pull out an Earthquake or something. And yeah, he reveals here the Rocky Helmet. Obviously the damage doesn't show anything because it's a Golem and it's massively physically defensive anyway, but he goes for Earthquake next turn. That does a decent chunk, but I managed to get my Will-O-Wisp off on this thing. So this thing is essentially useless offensively, and it cannot get its Stealth Rocks up. So for me, that's an absolute win-win. There's nothing like that. That's the best situation for me. That thing cannot get rocks up and it cannot do anything offensively. So he switches out into his Mew as I go for a recover. Now, Mew was the one thing on his team I just wanted to see what was going to do. I brought Shadow Ball just to make sure that it couldn't do anything, but he goes for the Dazzling Gleam, and this damage shows me that that's a Specs Mew, so that makes it a lot easier to handle. If he'd brought Nasty Plot, I would have been in a really bad position. So I go for a Shadow Ball, which does over half, and then switch out, because I'm not going to lose Mega Sableye right now. I can always switch in Victini, because I know this is Specs now, and he has to go for another Dazzling Gleam, which is going to do absolute F all, like absolute nothing. So he's going to withdraw the Mew now and go into his Golem, which is going to reveal to me that this thing is literally probably physically defensive with Rocky Helmet to get chip damage on a Victini and to take V-Creates. So I go for a U-turn because I knew that would have killed the Mew because I'm banded. I take the Rocky Helmet damage, and that does absolutely prove to me that that's exactly what he was planning. And I go back out into WD Gaster, the Sableye. It's a free recover here. Absolute free recover. I can actually get some damage. I can actually manage to get myself back up to a decent amount of health and keep Sableye around. He goes for a Rock Slide, hoping for a flinch, which it misses, which is a bit unfortunate, but it's like a 10% chance to flinch anyway, so it's not the most important thing in the world that missed. And I would have just gone for a recover next turn anyway, so I get myself up to decent health, and he switches into Staraptor, thinking that I'm going to go for a Shadow Ball, expecting Mew to come back in. He gets that completely correct, and now I have to go out into Regirock here. I have to go out into Regirock because it's the only thing on my team that wants to be taking a Brave Bird from this thing, or a U-turn, or a close combat, or anything. So he goes for a U-turn as I switch in Regirock. A very good play on his part, trying to keep momentum. And I count that damage. That damage there shows me that this is a Scarf Staraptor, because a banded one would have done about 15 to 20 more damage. So he goes out into his Venusaur. And I know that at this moment, a Scarf Staraptor is a lot easier to deal with, but I need to keep my Regirock around, because if I let Regirock go down, that thing can sweep me. So I switch out here into No More Banter, the Kyurem, because it's not banter anymore. We are not playing around. We are having no more banter. So he's going to Mega Evolve, and I'm pretty sure he goes for a Giga Drain here. Now my Kyurem is physically defensive to deal with Mamoswine. And this Giga Drain is still going to do nothing because I'm max HP, almost max defense, and a bit of speed to speed creep. I think it was Johnny Mamoswine, I'm not too sure. But yeah, I switch out there because I don't want to take a Sludge Bomb or anything. And I think he's going to go for a Synthesis here. Yeah, he goes for a Synthesis in case I had Draco because he knew he could take one. And he goes for a Sludge Bomb here. I wanted to get a Willow up on this Venusaur really badly because this thing needed whittling down and I can't Toxic it, so the next best thing I can do is Will-O-Wisp it. But he manages to get a poison on me with the Sludge Bomb, which is very, very annoying because now Sableye is going to be taking chip damage each turn, and it's better than a Toxic Poison because it's not necessarily on a timer because I have Recover, but it's still very, very frustrating because now everything's going to be doing like 12.5% more damage, and that means that if I go for a Recover here, which I do, I'm not going to be at full health. So like Dazzling Gleam becomes like, if he hits me with a Dazzling Gleam now, I'm going to be at like 12 HP and he can revenge me with anything. So I go for a Shadow Ball because I want this Mew out of the way. I don't want to be having to deal with a Specs Mew. And I go for a Shadow Ball and he predicts it again and goes into Staraptor. Now, I genuinely don't mind if he wants to go for a U-turn here. I'm not going to let Sableye take any damage off of this thing, and there's nothing I could hit it with anyway. So I go into Molly, I go into Regirock again because it's literally my dedicated switch. If he wants to hit me with a close combat, that's completely fine. He can't touch me anyway, so that Brave Bird does absolute pittance. Regirock does not care about your Brave Bird Staraptor. You are not brave enough anymore. I had you last season and you were very brave then, but this season you are not brave enough. So he's going to switch out his Staraptor there because he knows I can just kill him, and he goes out into Galvantula. Now, this thing I was very scared had Thunder, Bug Buzz, Giga Drain, and Sticky Web, so I did not want Galvantula taking a Giga Drain off of this thing or a Bug Buzz, and I needed to get this out of there. I needed this thing gone. So I switch out into Kyurem, because funnily enough, Kyurem is probably one of the best special balls I have on the team at the moment, because it's got like a base 125 HP, base 95 special defense, and it takes hits like, that's an uninvested special defense, and a Bug Buzz from a Mon with like a base 95 special attack, and it took that really, really well. It took a stab Bug Buzz so well with no SpDef investment. So he sets up his Sticky Web, and I go for a Roost to get myself back up to full, because I know I can 1v1 this Galvantula now. So he goes for another Bug Buzz. He's fully in sack mode. He's fully just going to sacrifice this. So he goes for, I go for Psychic there, and he goes for another Bug Buzz. So obviously the moves I have on this are Psychic, Flash Cannon, Roost, and Toxic, because this thing is meant to deal with Mamoswine. Flash Cannon is there for Mamoswine, the physical defense is there for Mamoswine. So he's going to keep going for Bug Buzzes, and I'm going to keep roosting up to get myself back up to full, because I know I can 1v1 this thing, and he's eventually going to run out of Bug Buzzes anyway, because pressure stalling and all of that jazz, and he's going to have to start attacking me with something else. So he's keeping on going for those Bug Buzzes. Like I said, he is fully in sack mode, but he gets a special defense drop there, which is very frustrating. But luckily I go for a Toxic as he goes for that. And I'm just like, okay, well, I can't really stay in and take Bug Buzzes anymore, and I need to keep this thing at a decent amount of HP to be a switch into a Mamoswine. So I switch out here, and I go out into Alfie's the Zapdos. Now this is good because I can get the defog up on this thing, and the Toxic that I used before literally means that I can go for defog and stop him from getting Sticky Webs up later on as it dies. Because if I can... See, the thing is, right, he goes for a Bug Buzz here. I'm very worried about him having Thunder, but that I'm still worried he has Thunder for some reason. I go for a defog here. Now, that was the best way I could ensure he did not keep his Sticky Webs on the field. Unfortunately, it gets rid of the rocks on his side, but it's completely fine. So the Toxic's going to wear him down. Now, going for Toxic earlier instead of going for another Psychic was fantastic because he outspeeds everything on my team, and I needed to be able to keep Sticky Web off. So by going for a Toxic instead of going for a Psychic earlier, meant that I could do this. If he'd have gone for Sticky Webs there, I would have bounced him straight back, and the Toxic means that I can completely stop him from getting his Sticky Webs up. So that's absolutely fantastic. Sableye's done a great job so far. It's down to pretty low health, but what can I do? But I've got rid of that Galvantula, which has not managed to get Sticky Webs up on the field. Zapdos has managed to defog it away pretty well. He goes into Mamoswine, and I go for Fake Out here just to break any potential sash this thing could have. If this thing had a sash, I would want it broken so that my possible V-Create, possible, like, anything I had hidden power grass would, you know, be able to kill it. So he goes for an Earthquake, and that just kills Mega Sableye, who's done his job. He's stopped a Galvantula from Sticky Webbing. And I go out into Kyurem here because I know I'm physically defensive. I know I can take hits from this thing, and that's absolutely fantastic. So he withdraws Mamoswine. I don't know why. I think he's still expecting that I have the V-Create. And I think I just go for a Roost here. Yeah, I go for a Roost, get myself back up to full, make sure I'm able to take on this Mega Venusaur, which is absolutely, you know, just, it's going to be a bit of a problem if I don't start hitting it with Psychics. But that's the reason I had Psychic, because I knew that I wanted to hit this Mega Venusaur for a decent amount of damage as well. And Kyurem is bulky enough to be able to do things. I go for a Psychic, get the Special Defense drop, which is absolutely fantastic. But it's also very, very bad for me at this moment, because with the Burn and Speed F drop, I assumed that a Flash Cannon would actually be able to kill it now. But it's not. So I go for that, thinking, right, if he switches in Mamoswine, I can kill it. But unfortunately, I go for the Flash Cannon because I got naive, and he goes for a Sludge Bomb, which gets a crit, which leaves Kyurem absolute death fodder for something. It can't switch into Mamoswine anymore. I should have gone for a Psychic there. That was a very bad misplay on my part, and he is able to bring in the Staraptor and go for a close combat just to finish off Kyurem. And that's very frustrating for me, because now I absolutely have nothing to switch into that Mamoswine, and I'm in a very bad position. Luckily, he has locked himself into close combat, which means I can go out into Victini, which can take anything and go for a U-turn, get some damage away on something, and that's exactly what I do. I knew he's not going to stay in, and he's not going to stay in with the Staraptor when I have the possible V-Create. I go for a U-turn, and this thing is still getting chip damage off on me, so even though it has been burnt and neutered defensively, it's still frustrating because that thing is still getting chip damage on Victini, and I can't go for V-Creates until it's gone. So he's now down at a range where a V-Create or anything would kill it. I go into Zapdos, and Hidden Power Grass the hell out of it, so that's a Golem that's dead. And that thing has finally gone down. DeVito put in a lot of work for Liam this week, and he's used it very well there. But yeah, he goes out into Mamoswine here. And I feel like this was, if he had a plan up his sleeve, this was where he was going to use it. I go for Hidden Power Grass just to check if this thing was scarfed. Zapdos has done its job, it's got nothing left to do in the game. He sets up a Curse. And this is scary, because even at -1, he outspeeds Escavalier. He can pretty much just kill everything on my team now, because Victini's going to be at a low amount of health, so I don't really want to switch in that. So he goes for Ice Shard next turn. Zapdos is down, and I'm not going to risk him going for something silly and go for an Ice Shard and killing me. So I go out into Escavalier, which is Focus Sashed. So I managed to stop this Mamoswine from sweeping me. That crit would have mattered if I wasn't Focus Sash, because it wouldn't have killed me with that Earthquake, but that crit would have meant that it did. So Focus Sash did come into play there. That crit could have cost me the game. But yeah, he goes out into Mew now just to finish me off. And this is where the game gets really, really tilty. He kills me with an Earth Power. And at this moment, I know that I speed tie with this thing because it's Spexed. So I have to go out into Victini and risk a speed tie, otherwise I lose. I can't go into Regirock. Now there's a speed tie, I win it. And that means that pretty much we have won the game because of a speed tie. If he goes for an Earth Power there and hits Victini, I then have to try and kill Mew with Rock Slides from Regirock, and that's never a good situation because it's going to be hitting me with super effective Earth Powers. And even if I did manage to take out Mew with Regirock, he had a close combat on his Staraptor that would have just destroyed me. So because I've managed to win that speed tie, that means that I can kill both of these with Victini, because the only chance he has now is going into Staraptor, critting me with a close combat, and then hitting Regirock with like 2-3 crit close combats, and that's the only thing he can do. And we've managed to beat Liam, and that's our third win of the season. We're on 9 points, and we actually have managed to claw our way back into this relegation battle. We've actually managed to keep ourselves fighting until the end, and now our future is still in our own hands at the moment. So that game was crazy. The fact that it came down to a speed tie between a banded Mew and a banded Victini and a Specs Mew is absolutely insane. Like, Liam, you put up one hell of a match, and I really hope you can stay up next season. I really hope you can stay up this season, because Liam has a decent differential, and because that was a 2-0 and not anything higher, he has a chance of finishing above the people, like finishing above RTK and Frank, and I know he plays Frank next week. So if he can beat Frank, and if he can, if Slyro can beat RTK, Liam has a chance of finishing 10th in the playoff match. But if those two win, then I have a chance of finishing 10th. So we're not necessarily safe from relegation, but we've guaranteed that we at least get that playoff match. So next week we play Kelly and the Baltimore Braviaries. Now Kelly is honestly is one of my favourite people in the PPL. He's always very, very confident, and he's always a very good shit talker. So this is going to be one hell of a match. And his team is Spook, but I have plans for next week, and I'm pretty sure you're going to enjoy watching that match. But anyway, oh god, ow, that hurt my knee. I just need my table. But anyway, thank you very much to Liam and Unlawful Exile for the incredible match. One hell of a match. Make sure you go over and check out his side of the battle. He's an incredible guy, one of the first people I actually started watching on YouTube. Him along with the One Integral and Frank Trode were some of the first people I started watching, so it was kind of, I've beat the two people that I started watching on YouTube this season, so that's pretty incredible. But anyway, make sure you tune in next week where we play Kelly and the Baltimore Braviaries. And anyway, I'm going to sign off here, so thank you very much for watching, have a good day and a great life. See you later guys, bye.